Bună și bine v-am găsit la o nouă ediție a emisiunii ZF Real Estate by Storia. Sunt Ioana Matei, sunt jurnalist Business Magazine, iar alături de mine se află prin Zoom Alex Skouras, co-founder și managing partner la Alesonor. Hello, thank you for being here with us.
Hello, Ioana. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Please tell us a little about the story of Amber Forest, because we have spoken before, but perhaps there are some people who are seeing you for the first time and need to know a bit about the story.
I will tell you maybe even before Amber Forest about who we are as a developer.
Yes.
We are Alesonor. We are a developer that we came in Romania 21 years ago, back in 2003. So we have a track record of more than 2 decades in Romania, and we have been focusing from the very beginning and the last decade only exclusively to residential projects. Actually, it's a little bit different because the current project, the last project that we are developing in Amber Forest, it's a mixed-use project. The previous project was Amber Gardens, was a project again almost on the next land 300 meters away from Amber Forest in the area of Tunari, a 5-hectare project, which we understood quite well what the market was demanding and asking, a project that was initially developed in 2014. So we understand and we felt quite well the market because we are clearly focusing to end users, to real families that they are looking about living in our projects and raising their families in our project. So we acquired 31 hectares next to Amber Gardens, where we developed a sustainable community. It is the first platinum certified LEED city and community in Romania and the 4th actually in Europe, where we are actually having 700 residential units, but we are having all the elements of a ecosystem, of a 360 degrees ecosystem, a community that is actually giving answers to the needs of the families in Romania nowadays. So we are currently during this phase of construction, more than happy to discuss more details about the project with you on this talk.
So I had a chance to visit the first project a few years ago, and I was really impressed by it. So I wonder, what are the characteristics of this new project? Can you tell us, describe us a little the houses, the buildings we can find in it, what we can find here and we don't find in the previous project?
Indeed, we have, I would say, upgraded our vision, and the upgrade had to do with understanding the real needs of the real market. As I said in the previous project in Amber Gardens, when we have met several years ago, we had a 5-hectare land. We did a housing project with a tennis court, with a basketball court, with the playgrounds, with green areas, but we felt that the market was looking for something more.
Yes.
And I can go that up to today, we have talked to more than 10,000 families, 10,000 end users. So we gathered all this information, all this knowledge, and we created a product that in Amber Forest, we're having a full scale, let's say, community, as you would be having, let's say, an area in the middle of a city where you are having educational services, where we are having kindergarten, a school. Verta International School will be opening and operating their second campus in our project. We will be having a sports facility, a wellness facility, where Pescariu Sports and Club will be having tennis courts and paddle courts and swimming pools and gym and spa. We'll be having a clinic, we'll be having a longevity clinic, a dentist, a polyclinic. We'll be having 10,000 square meters of agora. Agora means market in Greek language,
Greek, yeah.
Where we will be having 5 restaurants, a co-working hub, coffee places, macelleria, bruteria, areas that people would be able to discuss, to talk, to have a coffee, to have an ice cream, to go to their concept of having a lifestyle. You go in the morning, kids are going to the school, perhaps you're going to buy your bread, or you're going for a walk or a run in our 5-kilometer running lane, and then you take your kid back from school and you're going to one of the restaurants, you're interacting with people in the community or from out of the community. So we are trying to understand the needs of the people, and we are doing it from a really tangible perspective, understanding and feeling what they need. And this we're doing it because we have our also internal sales team, and we filter, we understand, and we try to create a product that it will be addressed to their actual needs and their future needs. And this is what Amber Forest is, a full-scale community a community that is 360 degrees, having all the facilities, amenities that you need, while it's also a sustainable community. As I said earlier, we are having the LEED pre-certification, and we understood and we are very happy that our vision about sustainable way of living, it was very much and very well embraced for our end users, our families that they trusted us with their home, willing to raise their families in a sustainable environment, an environment that their way of life and their sustainable way of life is the predominant factor of why and where they decide to live in the next years and raise their children.
That sounds very nice. If you work from home, basically, you don't need any reason to leave the community. And I think that is maybe ideal in Bucharest and around Bucharest today, because we all know how the traffic works these days in Bucharest. But please tell us more about the houses per se. How do they look? What can we find there? What are their dimensions?
We're having numerous types of houses. We're having more than 20 types of houses and more than 20 types of apartments. So a home in Amber Forest could be from the smallest one-bedroom apartment towards a house. Our best sellers were the 3-bedroom houses, but we have also 2-bedroom houses. We have even bigger than 3-bedroom houses. And we have in Shirite, so row houses, townhouses. We have duplexes. We have individual houses, and we have also the apartments. And what's very important that we saw is that the people that they were buying or thinking about buying a product in Amber Forest, they came not necessarily about all the elements of the house. If it's a small unit of a 2-bedroom that we're starting with the 114 square meters house, and as I said, apartments we're having starting from less than 50 square meters apartment. But they're coming because of the entire concept
community
that we have created, an ecosystem, and they believe on what they want. So they are looking towards all the technologies, all the design elements. We are having, of course, a full-scale team of architects in-house that they have the full coordination, and they created also a very big part of our residential units. While on the same time, we are collaborating with numerous well-known architectural firms in order to create a diversification that while they are under the same umbrella, they are able to create also different concepts for people that would have different tastes, but being under the same umbrella, so there is a unified project. But on the same time, it gives different tastes to people that they would be having different subjective appreciations of what type of architecture they need. All of them, they are having bioclimatic design principles. All of them, they're having all the elements that we had also in Amber Gardens and, of course, in Amber Forest with heat recovery units, with heat pumps, with bioclimatic design principles, with materials that they are very properly maintained in terms of quality and sustainability. But we are going zooming out to looking on similar elements in the entire community perspective.
Okay, so you have spoken about your client. Tell us, what is the profile of the client? What type of people choose this way of living? And of course, who can afford this way of living?
By far, more than 90% of our clients have been end users, have been families that they are looking about buying a home, that they are willing to live over there in the next decades, I would say, raising their children. So there would be mainly families that they are now thinking about having children, or they had their first child, which is probably quite young, and thinking about the second child, and they're already having more than one children, but they would be looking about raising their children in that community. This is the vast majority of our clients, end users, that they are appreciating our vision, and they're appreciating the fact that we are having this type of principles. So end users, real families, and creating a community which we believe it's very well also integrated, because everybody who's coming, because she's coming because of the values and vision that we are having, is automatically sharing the same values with their neighbor. So without knowing who is their neighbor, they do know that most probably it will be a neighbor that will be happy to share the future and raising the children with the children of their neighbor, because they are talking about similar values, because it's auto screen. Whoever is coming to us is coming for these reasons. It's also very interesting nowadays that we have seen that we have sold more than 80% of the residential units, and the community, by the end of the year, we are having 200 families already living within Amber Forest. So it's already the first part of the community over there, already real and live. That we see that now we are having also some requests from investors, and this is the rest 10%, I would say, from that they are looking on the value that the Amber Forest units would be creating, because indeed there is a real community. Because indeed they know that they would be acquiring now as a financial investment, and they would be able to rent it to somebody that really needs to rent it, which could be Soccer or Bunici from a family that they already have moved in and they bought a house, but they do not have the budget to buy us an apartment, but they do have the need of having grandparents, parents-in-law living very close to them, but not necessarily under the same roof, and being able to support them while raising their children, being able to rent the unit that they will buy to teachers from the school, from Verita, because they do have the intention and the willingness to have their teachers living next to the school, managers from the Agora, managers from the sports club, or selling it later on, again from the perspective that they do know that when the full community will be there with all the amenities, obviously will be also a significant capital appreciation.
Okay. And who are your neighbors if you move to Amber Forest? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they corporate people? Are they, I don't know, doctors? Does any of these profiles fits better?
If I would be picking, because you went to segments of work, one profile, I would say that we have a significant percentage of people working in the IT segment, because they very much understand and appreciate not only the values of sustainability and wellness, but also the fact that they have the full capacity of working remotely or working also remotely. So when they would be going to their office, they would be able to be more flexible. They would be having the co-working hub that they would be using. But I would say that it's clearly families, Romanian families, that they are working in all sectors. So besides the IT, that there is a percentage that somehow it's a bit higher than all the rest. All the rest, I would say that they are Romanian families working in several sectors, in actually all types of sectors in the market, that they are giving clearly emphasis on the way that they want to raise their children. And this we find them in all segments, in all type of works, in all type of businesses.
Okay. And I have read that you sold over 550 units out of a total of 690 available. Can you tell us which are the revenues you have recorded until now, and also what were the prices for the places you have sold, for the constructions you have sold?
Regarding the revenues, I would like better to see my numbers and get back to you in our next talk. Regarding the prices, it depends a lot on the type of apartment or the type of the house that we'll be having.
I imagine.
We are having units that are starting from 120,000 euro. And the majority of the units would be in the range of 300,000 euro. But we have also units that they are, of course, bigger, with bigger lands, and they would be even more expensive. So I would say it's starting from 120,000 euro. And clearly, I repeat, it's more important understanding all the values of the community rather than anybody understanding and trying to compare apples to apples of how many square meters is this house or how much square meters is the other house, because this is not the type of the profile of our clients. They understood that there is a lot of value in all the rest. We're having 31 hectares. Only 15% of these 31 hectares is actually the Amtrenta being built on the project. All the rest, 85%, are walking lanes and running lanes and pavements and the streets and the 5-hectare park and several other amenities and facilities. And they obviously have a lot of investment done from our side in order to be able to create the vision that we wanted from a design perspective. We are using a CUT that it's less than 0.3, while we could be having more than double the CUT or even maybe triple of what we are building, but it would be obviously a different product. So the people that are coming, going back to your question about also the profile of our clients, they do appreciate the entire community and the vision that we are having on this direction.
And the maximum price of a house you can find there? Do you have a maximum price or sky is the limit?
We have, it has happened that we had specific clients that they were willing to acquire a bigger home with a bigger land, and we exceeded also the 1 million euro. But no, I would say by far that the average home is starting, as I said, from 120K, and it would be going up to around 300,000 euro. And I believe it's also very well appreciated and respected regarding also the quality of lifestyle that somebody will be having, all the type of technology within the house, and of course, the way of living and the luxury and healthy lifestyle that somebody would be having.
I have understood that you plan to develop the project Amber Forest until 2027. Can you share with us which are the future developments you plan?
Within the project, indeed, within Amber Forest, we are aiming to finalize the entire project in the end of 2027. While in the meantime, having all this information and knowledge from the market and believing in the market, in the Romanian market, the Romanian residential, actually, I would say even more correctly, mixed-use market, we are indeed in the process of trying to find a new land that we would be able to, all the knowledge that we are having, all the vision that we are having from our past and our present, being able to create a new community. It will be maybe within the next months announced what we will be having, but it would be mixed-use community, a sustainable ecosystem as is Amber Forest.
Okay, so you're not announcing it now. You already have the location?
There are some interesting talks, and the moment they would be solid, more than happy to have another talk and to go in more details about it.
Great, we will look forward for that. Can you also tell us which is the total investment planned in this project you have already spoken about, and in the future, of course, if you want to disclose this?
The value of Amber Forest would be exceeding 200 million euro.
Okay.
This I'm talking about everything, the residential part, the commercial part, the health, the school and the sports facilities, as a full ecosystem, as a full project within Amber Forest.
Great. Since you have such long experience on the Romanian market, can you tell us how would you describe this year and the year that comes next? Is it a good time for this type of investments or not?
I strongly believe on the fundamentals of the market. The fundamentals of the market are there, and I do believe that if any developer has a long-term vision, a long-term plan, and is able to base his plan in a vision and core values that he would not be able to deviate, while on the same time he would be able to fine-tune and change based on the clearly dynamic environment that we have been facing the last numerous years and the years ahead, I do believe that it is a successful recipe, and this is what we are trying to do. Trying to create a plan, a business plan, a vision based on our core values, which have to do with sustainability, have to do with lifestyle, have to do with wellness, have to do with ecosystem, sustainable and 360 degrees mixed-use project, while on the same time having done smartly, properly, pools, and having on the same time always open the radars from the sales team, understanding, appreciating, trying to feel the market, and while the one eye is in the present, the other eye is in the future, and accordingly adapt. I do believe that the fundamentals are there, and I strongly believe in the market.
But how would you describe the residential market this year? Because there were a lot of voices who said it was a slow year in terms of sales. Was it the same for the type of properties you sold?
I believe that what we have been facing in the last several trimesters, and it will be the case also for the next ones, would be a much better and in-depth screening of the projects in the market, which actually I believe it's a very good sign, it's a very healthy sign, and this is how it should be. People and markets should be looking and screening and understanding and trying to go in much more depth of what any project represents, what type of house it is, how it's being built, what type of details it has on the design of the unit itself, on the materials being used, on the technologies being used, and of course zooming out on the entire ecosystem that is being created around the project. But I do believe that products and projects that they are actually addressing the real needs, I repeat, of the end users, not of investors that they would be just entering, buying, and the only thing they care is about the price, and then they would be acquiring or not, but the end users and what they actually do need, do what they are looking for, this type of projects, they will not be having an issue. And I will go very specifically with our projects. Every trimester, we are exceeding the target that the sales team is having. So we strongly believe that we understand the market. We strongly believe that we are there and we can hear what the market is asking and will be asking in the future. And any developer who is able to do it and create a product that is answering to these needs, I believe it will not be having any issue in sales or in the success of the project.
Great, that's good news. And I also wanted to ask you about how do you see the development of the residential market in Romania on the long term? Will the prices finally reach the Western ones? Or do you see a different perspective?
As we have seen the last many years in Romania, the economy has been clearly cutting and decreasing the gap from many directions, from many perspectives towards what's happening, let's say, in the EU. So we have seen it in things that we clearly all like, and we're talking now about what's happening in the GDP of the country, what's happening in the P values of the GDP. So what's happening when we're talking about €1 in Bucharest, or what you can do versus €1 in Vienna or in Berlin. And actually, you can do even more things with €1 in Bucharest than €1 in Vienna, which means GDP on the purchase price parity ratio, it's even better in the Bucharest market. And the gap has been closing. We have seen families that their disposable income has been increasing. We have seen it also while the construction cost has been increasing as well, which is something that I believe it was meant to be, and it will be. I believe that the construction cost will be going down, even if I would like this to happen. I do not believe that it will be happening because indeed this gap will be also closing, and we are seeing in other peer cities and peer countries the construction cost being higher than the costs in Bucharest and in Romania. So I believe that yes, the market and the difference between what's happening in Europe and Romania will be more and more closing. And on the same time, we have seen that the market in Romania in total is completely different of how it has been. I'm coming from Greece, I'm 21 years in Romania. I'm considering and feeling that myself that I'm half Romanian, having my family here as well. And I have seen how it was Romania back in 2003 and the evolution of Romania within all these years. So I strongly believe that as long as we are looking towards the same direction, that it's something that the Romanian market will be very much appreciating and moving towards even better tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can close with a message for your potential buyers, potential families who are considering moving into Amber Forest.
Sure. For me, I would say that the most important element addressing the entire Amber Forest is understanding who we are talking to, who we are trying to sell our product or vision, and accordingly understanding not only Amber Forest and who is coming over there, but what's happening also with all the area around Amber Forest, what's happening with the entire community all around Amber Forest, Tunari, Otopeni, towards Corbeanca, towards Pipera, towards Balotesti. Here I would like to make a very, I think, interesting parenthesis. In our analysis, we have seen numerous years ago that 91% of the people in Bucharest were living within the city limits, and only 9% were living out of the city limits. And this was a ratio that clearly, in our view, it would change. It's already started to change, and it has changed, because other peer cities was going towards 25-75, 30-70, 40-60, even close to half-half. So going towards an area that it has proper infrastructure, creating a product that's addressing to the needs of the entire area, not only within the community. Now we'll go now to another very interesting, in my view, perspective that we saw that in our location, There are 18 square meters, 18 pătrați of retail per 1,000 inhabitants. While in Bucharest, there are 183 square meters per 1,000 inhabitants of retail. In other cities in Romania, towards Timisoara, it's even exceeding 300 square meters. So creating a product, a project, an idea that is serving not only the needs of the people within the community, but from all over, from around the area, and having something completely open, not having a completely closed, gated community, but having an area that everybody could go to Verita School, to Pescariu Sports, to the restaurants, to the Agora, to the Clint, to the co-working hub, to the supermarket, to the fresh food market, to all the amenities and the facilities, to part of our 5-hectare park. It's very important because this is how the proper integration and the proper community is created, where we are having areas that we are actually able to foster, to support, to enable human interaction, to enable communication, to be able to one family to talk to their neighbor, to talk to somebody who is living again in the area, not necessarily being within Amber Forest, but fostering interaction, communication, and human relationship. I think is very, very important. So I believe that the product we have created, and we have designed actually Amber Forest for families who wish to raise their children in this type of safe, healthy environment, very close to nature, who wish to raise their children in a sustainable community, having all this type of important facilities, recreational, sport, educational, health, within a walking distance, because you would be able to have this 15-minute city and walking would be able to go all around. And clearly wish to have their families being raised in a community with their neighbors and other people that are sharing the same values. I think this is very important, and somehow this, I believe, is the most important message that I would like to give, as you said, to people that they are thinking about moving in Amber Forest in our project.
Yeah, I think we are all dreaming of an ideal community like we saw in the American movies maybe back in the days. Thank you very much for this conversation, and good luck with this project.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much as well. Have a nice day.
You too. Vă mulțumim și vouă că ați fost alături de noi și de această dată. Ne vedem în curând la o nouă ediție a emisiunii ZF Real Estate by Storia.